And the question is on the emotion of anger. What is the trigger for anger? So, option one, perceived injustice. The second option is a real threat. The third option is probable threat or a potential threat. We don't like anger. Any of these so-called negative emotions we look at as some dangerous things we have to avoid. And we all want to be happy all the time. The whole story of the world today is be happy no matter what, but there are some serious problems with that particular attitude. All of these negative emotions actually have very important roles in our lives. Now we think of the dragon as a fearsome creature to avoid. However, if that dragon is tamed and on your side, he is a huge asset. One important thing while learning how to tame anger is after we've gotten angry over a particular incident, we need to look back and ask ourselves a few questions. So that's one of the ways to tame the dragon. And today's dragon is anger.
Hi, welcome to Soch with hSA,
where philosophy, practical theology, pedagogy, and psychiatry meet.
We are continuing our series on the Advent. Oh, what am I saying, Dr. Praveen? What are we doing in this video?
In this video, we are going to tame the dragon.
Tame the dragon. We spoke about it in our last video on the myth of the disruptor woman. So it is on that.
We'll have to find out what you mean by tame the dragon.
Okay, I think we need to ask Dr. Johan.
All right, everyone. So this next set of videos has been inspired by an event that's happening here in Vellore, and we are actually doing a workshop, a kids workshop on music and singing and mental health. So it's a singing and mental health workshop where kids who join from 4th to 8th grade will, as a group, be working through certain mental health skills in a creative way. So they're going to be creating their own little musical skit, and in the process, they'll be learning things about managing their emotions and also consolidating their identity. So it's a really interesting workshop that we're planning. It's going to start on the 1st of May 2025. So since that's all happening, we thought we would theme this next set of videos on Tame Your Dragon. Now you must be wondering what all that is about. You will get the idea as we get through the rest of this video. Meanwhile, as usual, we'll start with a question. After we have the question, we'll think about some options. We'll answer your question. And at the end of that, we shall bring it all together with some reflection. We'll have some nice music for the reflection as well. So stick around for the music. That's a reward for only those who stay till the end of this video. So let's go to the question. And the question is on the emotion of anger. All right. Anger. Right. Question is, right. What is the trigger for anger? So what is the usual trigger for the emotion of anger? So anger is going to be the first of the great dragons that we are going to be looking at in this series. So option 1, perceived injustice. All right, so that's your first trigger option. Yeah, perceived injustice. The second option is a real threat. So if there's a real threat in front of you, does that trigger anger? The third option is a probable threat. All right, a probable threat. All right, or a potential threat. Same thing, probable threat or a potential threat. So think about that for some time. And in the meantime, let's ask our friends over here what their thoughts are.
I think I'll go for option 2, real threat, because when somebody is threatening, obviously, we become angry. So I go for option 2.
I think it's more deeper than that, because even if somebody is not there, even if, when I feel that there's a probable threat, no, suddenly the anger rises up within me and I feel angry. So I think it's the third option, potential or probable threat.
All right, thanks for those thoughts. Interesting thoughts there. But let me come up with the correct answer because both of you have got it wrong. Okay, so let's just revise what they said. Praveen was thinking about this third option here, the potential threat or the probable threat. And Angie was thinking about this option here, the second option, real threat. But the correct answer is perceived injustice. Now, let me explain that to you a bit. Now, before we get into the explanation of the question, I think a word is required here about this whole idea of negative emotions. Nowadays, we tend to be very, very phobic and frightened of negative emotions. We don't like anger, we don't like fear, we don't like anxiety, we don't like sadness, disgust, you name it. Any of these so called negative emotions we look at as some dangerous things we have to avoid. And we all want to be happy all the time. The whole story of the world today is be happy no matter what, just be happy, just be joyful and jumping around all the time. But there are some serious problems with that particular attitude. And I hope this series of videos would help us to unpack that as well. Because all of these negative emotions actually have very important roles in our lives. We actually can't lead a normal, healthy life without them. That might surprise you, but that is the reality. That's why the theme of this whole series of Tame the Dragon has been chosen with the word dragon in mind. Now, we think of the dragon as a fearsome creature to avoid, but obviously, the dragon could harm you, he could burn your house, he could destroy your property, he could be a big liability. However, if that dragon is tamed and on your side, he is a huge asset. You can just imagine having a dragon in your home. I don't think anybody would be coming and troubling you or stealing something from you or trying to do anything of that sort to you. So it would be a big asset to have that big guy on your side. So that's the whole idea here. And today's dragon is anger. So coming back to the question of triggers of anger. Now, anger is the emotion that is triggered inside us whenever we perceive something wrong, some injustice done either to us or to other people. Now, this is the way we have been wired. This is the way God has designed us. Whenever we see something that we think is unjust or wrong, committed against us or somebody else, the emotion that kind of wells up within us is the emotion of anger. Without anger, it would have been very difficult for us to perceive any kind of injustice in the world or act on any injustice in the world. So, anger is the emotion that actually propels us to make sure that things are made right, to make sure that justice is provided, to make sure that wrongs are punished or righted or whatever. So, anger is very crucial. In a world without anger, it would have been very difficult for us to actually point out injustice. So then you might ask, what on earth is wrong with it? Why are we always, saying control your anger or careful of your anger? That is the flip side of this particular dragon. There are a couple of things, two to be precise, two ways in which anger can be problematic. And let me quickly take you through both of those. The first way anger can be problematic is if we perceive injustice inaccurately, meaning we think something has been wrong against us or someone else, but in reality, that really wasn't an unjust thing. It was just our perception of it. So we've been triggered for the wrong reason. Think of a simple example. You have a schoolboy who is sitting and talking in class. maybe creating some problems in the back of the class and disturbing others while the class is going on. And the lecturer in the front, the teacher says, "All right, get up, stand up, and go to the back of the class." Now you can imagine this boy getting really angry and huffed and puffed up. And he goes back and thinks, why was I the only one singled out? Why weren't all the other 40 kids also singled out? The reality of the matter was that he was the only one making noise. But he sees it as, I've been singled out, it's not fair, I'm getting punished. But when you think of it in a very objective way, the teacher was perfectly right in doing what she did, because she was thinking of the larger interests of the class and even the larger interests of the boy himself. If he's going to be making noise, neither he nor anyone else can learn. If he's disciplined, he would learn something, hopefully, about making noise and allow other people to learn better. So there was nothing unjust in that. But he perceived it as unjust and felt angry. So that's an example of how your perception of injustice might be wrong, leading to wrongly triggered anger. That is problem number one. But equally important, probably more important and more problematic, is the second one, which is disproportionate response. Now, this can happen even if your trigger is a correct one. You might be perfectly justified in being angry, but if our reaction is disproportionate, that might also be a problem. Think about this example. Let's say you have, let's go back to that same boy in the class. All right? Let's imagine somebody took his rubber and didn't return it. Now, obviously, that's something that isn't right. Somebody who borrows something should return it. So he was probably right in being irritated and angry at his friend who took the rubber. But let's say in anger, he goes, takes his maths notebook and rips it in two and throws it in the dustbin. Now, you can ask, was he justified in getting angry? Yes, he was. Was his reaction disproportionate? Most certainly. So, although he was justified, his reaction has created a problem because it is way out of proportion to what could be expected. So, these are the two ways in which this particular dragon can become problematic. And in order to tame this dragon, it's these two areas that we need to really think about. Because most of the time, anger is a good emotion that actually helps us to identify wrong things in this world, provided we don't fall into one of these two problems. All right. So, one important thing while learning how to tame anger is, after we've gotten angry over a particular incident and when we've cooled down, we need to learn to reflect on what happened. We need to look back and ask ourselves a few questions. One of those, the first question is, what exactly triggered my anger? Why was I angry in the first place? Right. Second question is, was my trigger justified? Means, was it correct to be angry or not? And finally, the third question is, was my response proportionate? So, was my response proportionate or was it disproportionate and way out of proportion? Looking at these three questions, we can get some idea of what exactly happened and how our reactions and responses were. That might help us to think better the next time a similar incident happens. So, that's one of the ways to tame the dragon of anger. There's lots more, but that's all we can really have time for today in this particular video. So we'll talk more about other dragons in the upcoming videos, but that's it for now.
Okay, so that was the dragon that we were trying to tame. And just as Johan had mentioned at the beginning of this episode and the discussion, that this whole series of videos is inspired on an on-site workshop for kids. So for all our friends at Vellore, there's an on-site singing and mental health workshop. It's called Tame Your Dragon, and it's happening on May 1st and 2nd, the workshop, and with the performance on May 3rd. So the link to register is given in the description. So please click on the link and register. We have limited seats. So please hurry and register and let your kid experience this creative singing and mental health workshop. So that's for all our friends at Velo. But for all of our other online viewers, if you are interested in having an online version of this at your context or at your place, please do get in touch with us and we can see if we can make that happen also. We also want to remind our viewers that the June batch applications for the June batch for our Understanding the Psyche live course is open. So you can click on the link and register your seat for the June batch for Understanding the Psyche live course. We also have the special package Understanding Child Development for Teachers and Parents. So it contains two courses, the Psychosocial Development course as well as Cognitive and Moral Development course. So both of these courses for rupees 1000 inclusive of GST. In fact, in both of these courses, we deal with these topics of dealing with emotion and various aspects of it also. So check out this package and you can learn more about the topic that we had discussed today.
All right, viewers, it's time for us to get into a time of reflection. We have some music for you, and this is going to help you evoke some imagery of anger and some of those things which we talked about. So, think about taming the dragon of anger, recognizing it, learning about what might be the things that trigger it, and how you can tame it and use it as an ally.
Okay, Dr. Praveen, what are we expecting in our next video?
By analyzing what we have just discussed, I'm assuming that it's going to be another dragon,
Another emotion.
another emotion, right?
Okay.
What that emotion is going to be, we'll have to see in the next video. So, viewers, thanks for joining us again on Soch with hSA.
Goodbye, viewers. Till we meet you in our next video, it is hSA signing off. Till then, stay healthy, stay Soching.